So this looks like it set off not only a major explosion in the factory, but potentially subsidiary explosions at the storage facilities. This could put a major dent in Russia's ability in this region to produce artillery and rockets and missiles.
At least 7 people have been killed, including 2 children, during fresh Russian strikes overnight in Ukraine. This comes hours, of course, after Donald Trump confirmed that he would postpone his summit with Vladimir Putin in Budapest. He said he didn't want to attend a wasted meeting. Well, Ukraine has said that it's hit key Russian chemical plants using long-range Storm Shadow missiles, which are made in the UK. Let's speak to William Alberque, who is Senior Fellow at the Pacific Forum and a former Director of NATO's Arms Control, Disarmament and Non-Proliferation Centre. William, thank you for being with us. Give me your take on the severity of these strikes in both directions.
Well, the Russian strikes on Ukraine were absolutely brutal. We're talking about hundreds of drones and dozens of missiles, just overwhelming Ukraine's air defenses and striking civilian targets. It just gets so hard. You can defend your military targets, your government targets, your critical infrastructure, and then they go and strike a kindergarten. It's just absolutely brutal. In the meantime, Ukraine has struck back with UK-supplied Storm Shadow cruise missiles launched from aircraft, several of which struck a major weapons production facility in the town of Bryansk in Russia, about 70 miles northeast of the Ukraine border at the closest point. A really devastating blow to this huge chemical facility that is famous for making weapons, bombs, missiles, artillery rounds, rockets for Russia for decades. So a very smart and tactical strike back by Ukraine, while Russia just continues slaughtering civilians and destroying civilian infrastructure.
What sort of damage generally can Storm Shadow missiles do?
It's a big missile. I mean, we're talking about a 400-kilogram warhead. This can just absolutely devastate, especially a chemical facility where you're talking about incredibly volatile compounds and including finished rockets as well. And there's a huge weapons storage facility there. So this looks like it set off not only a major explosion in the factory, but potentially subsidiary explosions at the storage facilities. This could put a major dent in Russia's ability in this region to produce artillery and rockets and missiles.
Have the Kremlin responded to that in any way, do we know?
Not that I know of yet. I'm sure they're still doing a battle damage assessment, but they're going to be furious. But I mean, what can they do more? They're already doing everything they can to kill Ukrainian civilians, to hit Ukrainian targets. It's not like they have a lot of room to escalate at this point.
We've talked a lot about the longer range missiles that Ukraine desperately wants, the US not giving them. There was a sense that maybe Zelensky may be able to go to the White House last week and get that over the line with Trump. It didn't happen. Where has that left them? I mean, Volodymyr Zelensky, if he was on the show tonight, will say, that's left us really badly off. We desperately need these long-range missiles. How true is that?
These missiles would be really wonderful for Ukraine to be able to hit very spectacular, deep targets inside Russia. I mean, they have a range of more than 2,000 kilometers. This would be a huge upswing in their ability to hit targets that are very, very deep, things that Russia has pulled back that they think are out of range right now of Ukrainian weapons. But there was always a question as to how many the United States was actually going to give Ukraine. And honestly, there's a quiet battle in the background to try to get Germany to give Ukraine their version of Storm Shadow, which is called the Taurus missile, which is slightly longer range, very, very precise. Germany has hundreds of these things. And so hopefully, even the Tomahawk debate, the fact that the United States let Zelensky down at this point may convince those in Berlin to give Ukraine this new system, which would supply them with just, another couple hundred extra missiles to strike deep targets inside Russia. Not quite as good as the Tomahawk, but very good indeed.
What is the hesitation, do you think, for Trump?
I think for Trump, he honestly thinks that he can solve conflicts. That's his moniker during this one. He's the peacemaker. He's the one who solved 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 wars, however many wars he's solved so far. And he really thinks that if he comes to the table and is honest and open and, talks about a deal, that something can happen, that he can make get over the line. And every time he does this, Putin plays him. Putin offers him just enough to make him want to come into the negotiation. You recall last time it was going to be they were going to ban Indian purchases of Russian oil. This time it's Tomahawk missiles. And Trump keeps trying to chase the peace dividend here. I mean, I can't blame him for wanting to try to make peace, but it's not that simple. And I think his advisors are really learning that Putin is going to play Trump over and over again because of Trump's desire to make some kind of peace.
Yeah, okay. Yesterday we were talking about this meeting, of course, between Putin and Trump now not happening in Budapest as hoped. And I mean, we were talking yesterday about, perhaps we're not quite at square one, but that coupled with the news of the strikes today, we're certainly close, are we not?
It is, but again, I hope this means that more European countries, especially Germany, are going to break free in their final ambitions and supply Ukraine with weapons that they have not supplied yet. That the fact that the U.S. let Zelensky down may open up the gates to other deep strike weapons that are going to help Ukraine in the short term, and with less restriction and in higher numbers than they were ever going to get the Tomahawks.
What's the purpose of that? If you're talking to the German leadership tonight, are you telling them do that so that Ukraine can win, or do that so that Ukraine can hold Russia at bay?
I mean, I'm telling them do that so that Ukraine can survive another day. Is it going to win them the war? Absolutely not. But is it going to mean that they're going to be able to hold more targets at risk, that the Russians are going to get worried, that it might even provide leverage so that Putin is more willing to talk? Yes. I mean, really, if Germany were to give Ukraine tomorrow 500, 600 of these missiles, that would be huge. That would really help. And, Britain has done tremendous with the Storm Shadow. We think dozens, if not in the low hundreds of these missiles have gone over. But Germany can really open up the taps and give hundreds of these missiles right away. And if all the Europeans start following that kind of lead, follow the UK lead on this one, then it might tip things in Ukraine's favor.
That's
really
and so you make a direct correlation there, then, William, which makes perfect sense between Ukraine being emboldened and Putin coming to the table. You say that those two things go hand in hand. Why doesn't if Donald Trump won't give him the missiles because he feels like he wants to be the peace president, why isn't he making the same calculation that you are?
I think he has an enormous faith in his own abilities to persuade people, and Putin knows exactly how to play to his vanity. And so I think he just keeps getting pulled back into this hope for diplomacy with someone who is just, in Putin, so skilled at gaming people, at gaming psychology, at saying exactly what you want to hear, and then still pursuing a brutal war. So I think it really is Trump's hope that he can be different from everybody else. He thinks he's special. He really is.
And be honest with yourself here, William. What is the difference between what you want to happen from Europe and what will happen from Europe?
Honestly, I think it'll happen. I think that this is going to be the last straw. I think Germany is finally going to say, we need to do something here. We need to step up. We've seen the United States keep making promises and then backing off at the last minute. It's time for Europe to actually do something. We've been talking about this in Europe for a long time. We have to step up. We have to do more. There is a hope somewhere in the German system that somehow Trump can wave a magic wand and solve this conflict. And I think everyone is realizing that's not going to happen. Putin will continue to revert to type. He'll continue to do the worst things. And so I think this might be one of those breakthroughs where they finally say, we can't leave this to the United States. We have to do more. We have to step up. This is our moment.
Okay, William, thank you for your time tonight. William Alberque, who is a senior fellow at the Pacific Forum and a former director of NATO's arms control with us, arms control and disarmament, I should say.